One thing that came to mind recently was I think something I took from Adyashanti, one of his book titles, which was "The End of Your World." When I first kind of read that, the first response was sort of a terror, right? The end of my world, the end of me, the end of everything that I hold to be real and dear and sacred and important and all this sort of thing. And as I was kind of just laying there in meditation, there was a thought that said, I'm done with the outside world. I don't want the outside world anymore. There's nothing out here that's going to fulfill me. And maybe even there isn't an outside world. There isn't such a thing as an objective reality, looking around and all this isn't real and all this. But of course I'm believing the thoughts that say it's not real. So, just laying there in meditation or sitting and seemingly managing an interior world. Like there's stuff going on like in here that needs to be managed and needs to be dealt with, and stuff that I'm responsible for. Thoughts and feelings that I have to do something with. There's stuff happening here that's important for me to deal with on the inside. I have to do something with all this stuff. It's like you take the busy exterior life, you take for example, I don't know, I've been a student and a boyfriend and a friend to, other people and stuff like that, and an employee and all that stuff. And it's like I'm busy managing all these different roles and different aspects of my life, and am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong in this capacity, but I'm getting this one okay? And just all these kind of questions that are up in the air as to how I'm doing with my life that's kind of happening out here, and other people see it and judge it, and it's someone kind of says, you're kind of an idiot in this regard, you can't do this right, and someone says, oh, you're a really good listener, but and there's all this stuff that seems to validate my existence as an external person, as a person in the world doing things. And then the deeper I got into spirituality, the more that aspect started to fall away. So there'd be a sense of, oh well, none of this is important. It doesn't matter what role I'm playing. It doesn't matter what people kind of see about me and all that sort of thing. Which wasn't a true seeing anyway. It was a glossing over. It was a jumping over the raw emotions and the beliefs about myself in favor of jumping into spiritual concepts. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's more about what starts to happen as we go inward. So I'm starting to go inward, I'm meditating more, I'm doing self-inquiry, I'm chanting, I'm listening to spiritual music, and just sort of being quiet with myself. And of course, the clear teachings, at least the teachings I find the most clear, seem to point to the simplicity of being, just being in love in the same way that we were at the age of 2. And I realized that what I was doing in meditation and doing spiritual practices was, at least 2 steps out of being in love. Even though I kind of told myself that's what I'm doing, I'm cultivating that. I'm in meditation, and that's gonna sort of facilitate more and more love to kind of come into my life. And as long as I get through this pattern, as long as I breathe a little more deeply, as long as I see that there's no I, as long as I can sit still for longer, as long as I can get through this emotional block, I'm facilitating my way towards being, towards the simplicity of being, which is the same as in my exterior life when I would say, by being a good boyfriend, I'm getting closer to being happy with my life and making everything work. By being a good student, I'm getting closer to getting the good marks to get into the good university so that I can get a good job, so that I can have the life I want. Then you take it to meditation. By sitting in meditation a long time and breathing properly and watching the eye and feeling all the emotions properly, that's facilitating me getting closer to being. That's facilitating me getting closer to not being anyone. And then when I read that title of Adyashanti's book, the loss of your world, or the end of your world, then it sort of dawned, it's like, oh, well that's the world that isn't real. It's me about me, in me, that isn't real. It's being that is permeating all the time. It's the love that is outside of that context. It's not even outside, it's just beyond that dream. It's beyond the limitation of that dream. That's inviting a resting and a recognition of that. But I couldn't see that all that was going on. I couldn't sense, or I refused to sense that, because I was trying to really manage and deal with the world that I thought was important to get over, or to arrange in a certain way, get the furniture in my internal world all lined up, and so it's comfortable, so that then I can finally just drop into the being. What if that world isn't real at all? What if my entire internalized world is just as unreal as, the movie I put on? And who would I be without it? What would be real without me and my world sort of at the front and center of existence? Because most people in spirituality have seen through the objective outside world, quote unquote. And a lot of people will say, well, my thoughts aren't real, and emotions are just built on thought, so they're not real, and I'm not real. And I said that about myself so many times, and then wondered why I was not home still, why it's still not love, why there's still fear. Why am I still in fear? It's because I take myself to be a vulnerable center of a seemingly very real world that could collapse at any moment. So there's the invitation of just, okay, well let's just drop all that and see what's here. And you don't even have to drop it all if you don't want. Just what's always here, what's always real, what is reality prior to my world. So, without my world, God alone is love. Thank you.